Module 1. Measurement, Units, and the Scientific Method. The metric system. Remember that chemistry is the study of matter, and one way to understand matter is to measure it so we know how much of it exists. You have a basic understanding of amounts of matter just from observing things around you. For example, you know that there is more matter or stuff in a block of wood than there is in a helium balloon. That's because the block of wood is heavier, right? There's more stuff there. We can determine how much of that stuff is there by measuring the mass of an object, as well as the area of space it takes up. Let's start with mass. The metric unit of mass is the gram. So if something has a mass of 5 grams, it is the same as 5 objects that are a single gram in mass. A gram is about the same mass as a paperclip or a housefly. So a gram is a small mass, isn't it? The mass of an average person, for example, is about 68,000 grams. Most of the objects you will measure will be hundreds of grams, so just remember that a gram is a small unit of mass. Notice I kept referring to an object's mass, not its weight. There's a difference between those two. You see, if an average-sized person were to weigh himself on a scale, it would show that he weighs 150 pounds. But if he were able to stand on the moon and weigh himself with that same scale, he would weigh about 25 pounds. What happened? Did he lose a significant amount of weight while he was traveling to the moon? No. The difference is because the pull of gravity on the moon is much weaker than the pull of gravity on Earth. Now let's consider this astronaut's mass. On Earth, he has a mass of 68,000 grams. And when he travels to the moon, he will find that his mass is also 68,000 grams there. The difference between mass and weight is that weight is dependent on the presence of gravity. Mass is a measure of how much stuff or matter is in an object, so it will be the same amount of stuff on the Earth as well as on the moon. Now, the metric system is one of several unit systems that scientists have used over the years. If you live in the United States, you may be more familiar with the English system. The English unit for mass is the slug. Now, you may not be as familiar with the English mass unit as you are with other English measures, such as the foot, yard, pound, and gallon. But you do need to understand that the English unit for mass is the slug, and the metric mass unit is the gram. The English system uses pound for a measure of weight. The comparable metric unit for weight is the Newton. For most of this course, we'll focus on mass measurements, not weight. Just be aware that there's a difference. The metric unit for distance is the meter, and the English unit is the foot. If you're familiar with a yardstick, which is 3 feet in length, a meter is a little bit longer than a yard. Now let's talk about measuring volume of matter. This has to do with how much space it takes up. In the metric system, volume is measured with the unit liter. The English system uses gallon. You are likely familiar with the size of a gallon of milk and a 2-liter soda bottle. A single liter is not quite 1/4 of a gallon. The final unit of measure is an easy one. That's because it is the same in both the metric system and the English system. This unit measures the passage of time. It is the second, and it is used because as we study matter, it can change its size, shape, and its properties as time passes. All of these measures are important ones for you to learn. You are likely already familiar with many of them, but make sure you memorize the ones that are new to you.